Welcome to the channel. This is the fourth video I'm doing in the Webex calling series, and today we're going to be talking about users and licenses. Now, something to note right off the bat is that adding users isn't really a function that is specific to calling. For example, you're still going to need to add users to Control Hub just for messaging and/or meetings. So adding users is more a feature of Control Hub in general than it is of Webex calling specifically. Now, one of the difficulties in covering this topic is that there are many different ways to add users. Without exaggeration, I could easily make a 3 or 4 hour lab just on the various ways to add users. But don't worry, I'm not going to do that. And certainly not today. We're going to save that for another video. What I am going to do today is show you one way, one easy way that you can add users, and this is necessary for our purposes in order to understand Webex calling, because if you're using the Control Hub sandbox account, then you're only going to have one user, which has already been set up for you automatically, but you're going to need to add at least one, really two additional users in order to configure and test all of the calling features so that you can really understand the calling side of things. And then while we're at it, we'll go ahead and take a look at how to add calling licenses. So I'm all logged in here, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to Management Users, and then as you can see, I've already set up 3 users here: James Howlett, Peter Parker, and Stephen Rogers. So we're going to add one more here, and to do that, we're going to come over here and click Manage Users. And then here you can see just some of the ways that you can add users. You can do it manually. You can do a bulk add with a CSV file. And then you can claim users. Now that's kind of getting into the weeds a bit, but this has to do with adding users who already have a Webex account. And then you can sync users with AD or Azure. And then there's Directory Connector, which is a whole different rabbit hole. So for our purposes, we're just going to manually add users. And then here we can add them by their name and email, or just email. I'll stay with name and email. And then for the first name, this is going to be Wade. And the last name is, of course, going to be Wilson. And then for the email, I've already set up an email account for Wade in advance. It's going to be wwilson@cb499.dc-01.com. Now, here's something important to note. You could technically add users with a fake email, but in order to actually use the account and get a verified or active status, you're going to need to use a real email account that you can go in and check and respond to. So maybe that means setting up a couple of fake email accounts, whatever you've got to do. Another important point on setting up users is that the user cannot already have a Webex account. If they do, then you're going to run into the issue of claiming users, and that's far outside of the scope of this video. All right, so we'll click the plus button to add Wade Wilson and then click Next. Now here in step 2, this is where we can add the different licenses that are available to your organization. Of course, messaging, meetings, we're not going to do anything with those. We're just interested in calling for now. So here you can check the box for Webex calling or professional. It doesn't matter, because by checking one, you're actually enabling both. So we'll just click Next. And then here we can choose the location where we want to add Mr. Wilson. We'll choose Seattle. And then for the extension, we're going to say 1003. We'll come down and click Next. And then step 4 is just review your settings. Then we can go ahead and add user. Okay, so one user is added. Perfect. Then we'll click Close. And then here we can see Wade Wilson show up on our user page. Now notice here real quick that his status shows as verified, but everybody else says active. And you can see what this means when I hover over. Basically, active means that the user's email has been verified and that they've signed into Webex at least once. Whereas verified just means that they've been verified to have a valid email account, but they haven't yet signed in. Now to do that, I first need to go over to Wade Wilson's email account and get the confirmation code. Perfect. There's our email. Okay, scroll down here. Okay, I'm going to have to jot that down real quick because copy and paste isn't going to work. I'll log in with Wade's email address, of course. Now I can punch that in. Now create a password. and the name Wade Wilson, of course, and we're in. Okay, now that we've successfully logged in, the first thing I want to do is upload an avatar. So I'll click this little avatar button here, select Edit Profile, then Upload Picture. I'm going to select this one. I'll click Save. And there we go. We've uploaded an avatar for Wade Wilson. And now what's really cool is that we can go back to Control Hub, and I'll just kind of click off and then back on to refresh the page here. And then now you can see Wade Wilson's avatar has synced to Control Hub. And then notice that his status says active because we've logged into the Webex app. Okay, now there's just one more thing that I want to show you, because it is possible that you've added users and they have licenses for messaging or for meetings, but they don't have licenses for calling. And so that's what I've set up here with Peter Parker, Steve Rogers, and Wade Wilson. They're already set up with calling licenses, but James Hallett, although he is an active user, he does not have a calling license. So we're going to see how to set that up and also assign him to a different location. So we'll just click on his name here. Then we'll scroll down to where it says Licenses, and then we'll click on Edit Licenses. Then to confirm, we'll click on Edit Licenses again, and just as before, we can edit licenses for messaging, for meetings, or calling. Of course, we want calling, and so we'll check both boxes here as before. Click Save. And then here, we want to change his location to Tokyo. And we're doing this so that in the next video, we can see how to set up dialing between locations. Okay, we'll give James the extension 1004. We'll click Save, then Close. And now, if we come over here and click Users, we can see we've got all 4 of our users set up. Each has been assigned a location with a calling license for each of them. All right, we're going to set up internal dialing rules in the next video. I hope to see you there.